Namaskar. We are at ThinkTalks at Amity Online, and this is a very special edition. It is an edition on World Environment Day. Today we have with us Swami Prem Parivartan, who is popularly known all over India as Peepal Baba. I read an article about you 2 to 3 years ago in a newspaper, but that article talked about a little boy who collected saplings of peepal trees as he walked towards his school, and inspired by his teacher, one of your teachers, you planted those saplings and they've turned into beautiful trees. And the journey from there to Peepal Baba is very intriguing, and I don't know anything about it. So I would really like you to tell us that how the little boy became Peepal Baba.
Jaishree Goyal ji, and I believe you are heading Angelique Foundation, and you've done some wonderful work on flowers and composting. I've been following up on your work also. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for having me. In fact, what happened was that I was studying in the school in the 4th grade in 1976 in Pune. And my father, being an army officer, he was posted in Kirki cantonment area of Pune. And I was studying in the school, and we had a class teacher by the name Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Williams was, she was an environmentalist at heart, and she would tell us a lot of stories about birds, bees and butterflies. And she would always encourage us to be close to nature, to read about nature, and she would make us write a lot of essays on nature, and she would tell us a lot of stories on these subjects throughout the year, you know. So we had less of academic talk in the 4th grade and out of textbooks, but more about nature and environment. And the turning point came when she started saying that even dinosaurs could not tolerate the, they could not survive the pollution that was created out of the meteorite showers and the asteroids that fell about 16,000 years ago on the planet. And India is headed towards a lot of toxic air, toxic water and toxic soil. Now that really got me worried, and she would always say, she would give us a clear, she had a clear mandate, she had a clear date. 2030, India's half population would be annihilated, it would be eliminated. Now I'm talking about 1976.
And her
So
projections.
when, you know, when we used to, and I was just 11 years old, and I got so disturbed. And then I used to always talk to my teacher about this crisis of pollution in this country. And she would say, son, we can, she could just see what would happen a few decades later. And exactly that is happening. Bumper to bumper traffic, the metros are exploding, and so much of rural migration, and of course, even today's theme, today as World Environment Day, we are talking about pollution as the main theme. And what is really affecting our life. Even today my throat is also not good, because ever since Diwali smog,
Right.
my doctors have been saying that Peepal Baba, if you want to really treat yourself, you have to please leave Delhi. I can't leave Delhi because we have so many tree planting projects over there. But the fact of the matter is that there is so much of poisonous air in the city, in Delhi NCR, and poisonous water and poisonous soil. So when my teacher, when one fine day I just walked into the teacher's room, and I asked her, ma'am, you keep threatening us with all these stories and predictions, and the planet is going to come to an end. Just, I'm a little child, just tell me, what can I do? And she said in Hindi, it is called, पेड़ों से कहानी शुरू होती है, पेड़ों पे खत्म होती है. So, you know, the whole story starts with trees and ends with trees. And she would always say, even our grandfathers, means the ape families also, they were born and brought up in the forests. And we have the same DNA. Even the chimpanzee DNA is 98.7% exactly photocopy of the Homo sapien DNA. So they have survived in the forest. And so we are trying to live without the forest. Now this thing really impacted me. And that was the first day. 26th of January 1977, when I planted the first 9 saplings over there, there were people and banyan trees, and they are still existing even today. If you go to Range Hills Road in Kirki Cantonment, all my 9 trees are standing there.
Lovely.
And that is how the journey started. The next day it was about 53 trees, the next day it was 27 trees.
Lovely.
I started planting about an average of 150 trees per day. And then got all my friends to water them, and got the communities together, the army men, the soldiers, my hockey team, my volleyball team, my schools, my teachers, my principal, and the whole thing went viral. And I would definitely want to ask you about because this has been one of my favorite subjects, composting, because my grandmother taught me how to compost at the age of 11, and I've been reading about the work that your organization, your foundation has been doing with the machines, I don't know what you call those machines, the composting machines, and going to temples and flowers. Could you please just tell us about that?
So my story did not start when I was a child. It started about 1.5 years ago.
Yes,
and I wanted people to think that what really, when you go to a temple, you take flowers to adorn the deity and you offer your flowers to the deity. What really happens to those flowers, those fresh flowers, after you've exited the temple? Has anybody given it a thought? All those flowers, after a few hours, land up in the kitchen, in the dustbin of the temple, and from the dustbin of the temple they go to the thalao, and from there their journey starts where they land up in the landfill.
Yeah. Only the address changes.
Only the address changes. And in the landfill, these fresh flowers are lying with diapers, sanitary napkins, kitchen waste, city waste, e-waste, and just rotting. And this thought actually came to me when I was in my morning prayers in my own home, and I took out the old flowers from my deity and I adorned the deity with the fresh flowers, and I looked at these old flowers and said, where do they go from here? And I realized that from my kitchen dustbin, they also go to the landfill. And that's where I started thinking that we need to bring about a change. That what are we doing as individuals? What are we really doing, right? I started doing recce's of temples, talking to people, and I realized in all these big establishments who are bulk generators of biodegradable waste, nobody was talking about recycling, nobody was talking about decomposting. It was just a system. You dump it in the dustbin, you dump it into a flowing water body. That's it. That's where they go. More research told me the hazards. When you leave biodegradable waste to rot on its own, what does it do? It creates methane gas. It's a greenhouse gas.
Correct.
Polluting the air. The leachate that comes out, the acid that comes out, the water, it seeps into the soil, contaminates the soil and right into the groundwater. In the newspaper 3 days ago, there was an article how the settlement around landfills are getting yellow water now.
Right. Absolutely.
Landfills have reached heights like 65 meters higher than Qutub Minar. They are having fires that take 7 hours to...
hill stations.
Yeah, hill stations. They have fires which take 7 hours to extinguish.
Yes.
There are landslides where people are getting crushed under it. What are we doing? If we wanted to manage all the biodegradable waste of our country, we would need 1,400 square meters of landfill area. Nobody wants to allot that area because there's no settlement that can take place along the area.
Jaishree, I was reading that you have done about 10 major religious institutions.
Yes. So, we started searching for a solution. And we're an engineering company. So I sent my engineers helter-skelter and I said, you find a solution for this. And while I was still talking to people, I realized that there are some psychological things we need to take care of. One, nobody wants to associate with garbage. Especially people from large institutions, people in authority, people who are educated sitting on the chair and the table, they don't want to touch garbage. They don't want to associate with garbage. Garbage is for the rag pickers, garbage is for the municipal corporation. It is not my business.
Good.
I try to explain to them that if I go home and I have food on the table and it's my food, I have garbage, I have waste in my kitchen. And that is my waste. And like the food the food is what I consume, the garbage is what I take care of.
Right.
They need to realize that. It also made me realize that the numerous essays jo humne likhe hain, what we've written in our school days, in our books and copies on climate change, on environment, they were just like words in blue ink, waiting to be marked with red ink and get some grades on it. Nothing really seeped in.
Right.
Right? So it's a humongous man-made problem. and it needed divine intervention, I think. Look at the pollution in Delhi NCR, it's ridiculous. Coming Diwali, our kids can't even go out to play, they're wearing face masks, pollution masks. I mean, is it ridiculous? With those black bands on your faces, you're going to school, and our kids are dying of bronchitis, and asthma has become like a cough or a cold now in the Delhi NCR. I came across this problem. I realized that I should put my funds towards an initiative which deals with this problem. And when my engineers found this machine,
Right.
which is called the electronic automatic biodegradable waste decomposter, which is absolutely fabulous. It's made by numerous manufacturers across the country, where you put the biodegradable waste from one end, it stays within the machine for a few days, it gets decomposed, and there's only one outlet where the compost comes out, odor free. So you're not dealing with garbage, you don't need anybody technical, but your biodegradable waste is getting converted into compost, and this compost is rich, fertile soil.
If all the institutions buy this off, and RWAs, resident welfare associations, colonies, temples, gurudwaras,
bulk waste generators,
canteens,
so now,
cafeterias.
Yeah, so now we have 10 locations across Delhi NCR. We have converted 1,50,000 biodegradable waste into 50 into 50,000 kgs of compost. Our compost is taken by farmers around Delhi NCR. It's taken by institutions like schools which have large green areas. It's taken by the municipal corporation. Individuals take it. In fact, there's a booking for 6 months.
Wonderful.
If corporate support, motivate, create awareness, if institutions who are generating it, they themselves realize and get motivated, it'd be wonderful. Can you imagine the amount of compost, fertile soil we can create?
Ma'am, on World Environment Day today, what do you think is the single most, the main problem? Because when we talk about pollution, I would like to take your view on it, then I'll share mine, because we work on the ground, so we know the realities out there. Let's take a classic case of a case study of Delhi NCR, because since we are talking about a population of 26 million, we're talking about 2.2 crore 60 lakh population in Delhi NCR, which is a fairly good chunk as a sample. And what do you think is the single most important thing which the government should do, or the corporate should do, or the individual should do, without diluting the whole thing? One single most important thing, so that we can fight this menace of pollution.
Well, if you say single most, I would say the single most is planting trees, right? Because the tree by itself gives so much.
I'm glad somebody said that.
But if you say 2, 3, then I would say planting trees and taking responsibility for what you're creating. I mean, we are just becoming consumers. We're every day consuming. We're just taking from the earth, right? How about giving back? So you take from the earth, you use what you want to use, whatever's left off, convert it into something that you can give back to the earth. So convert it into compost, give it back to the earth, complete the cycle. The same way we've done with flowers, from soil to flower, from flower to compost. Compost goes into the soil, it nurtures the soil, you get a flower back.
Right.
So complete the cycle.
Yes.
Use
and the kind of effort that you are making, let me tell you, because since we work on the ground and we try and convert acres and acres of land into green cover, you cannot create a green cover if your soil is not good. So if institutions like you, foundations like you, if corporates come together and they are able to give us, people who are working on the ground, trying to increase the green cover, layers and layers of compost, I would call topsoil. So then the trees will also grow healthy, the trees will also grow faster, the plant would be much more healthy, and the processes, it gets all the nutrition it wants, because good soil also means it can retain better moisture, right? People don't understand, it is so important to have 50% of any land space, even a metro area. You look at Moscow, you look at Johannesburg, you look at Seoul, you look at even places like Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo. Now, I've been studying these cities. more than 44%, 64%, 67%. You go to Bhutan. I was talking to one of the royalty members of the aristocratic family of Bhutan. They said we have a policy, 70% of the country has to be under tree cover.
Yeah.
Now, till that kind of determination and political will and the citizen will comes in, that we need to, okay, I won't say 70% because India's population is
Much larger.
exploding. At least to carry on any relationship, कहते हैं ना कि you need to have a 50-50 go, whether it's two human beings, two business partners. So even nature and citizens, they should have a 50-50 partnership. 50% should be reserved for nature, for solid green cover, buffer zones. We need forest. The way the desert is coming into Delhi,
to us,
the desertification of Delhi is taking place. People are not understanding. There is so much dust around.
This dust is coming from the desert.
Because the Rajasthan desert is
increasing.
Gradually taking on Delhi.
Yeah.
And let me tell my friends, I would love to share this. If you see the British records, the Gazette records, it is documented, friends, that before 1928, Delhi used to be a hill station.
Oh, really?
Delhi, the temperatures never ever crossed 27 degrees centigrade. Delhi used to be one of the most beautiful hill stations. That is why all the
capital is in
yes, all the invaders used to come here and they would want to settle and they would like to create this as the capital because it was protected by the Yamuna biodiversity and it was protected by the Aravali biodiversity. There were two biodiversity ecosystems over here and the beautiful weather, and Delhi was just like a hill station. But what we have done in the name of development, we have just butchered and slaughtered our entire tree cover. So the moment and mind you, the tree cover that we see in Lutyens, Delhi, the Lodi areas, everything has been planted by the British before independence. In fact, we have not planted trees after independence. So I think this is a complete, this is one thing we need to really work on. And if we talk about pollution, because ma'am, in my opinion, we are a developing nation. You are an industrialist. We cannot stop using air conditioners. We cannot stop using cars. We cannot stop using vehicles. We cannot stop using machines. We cannot stop using laptops and smartphones and electronic equipment. Then what is the doable thing?
Right, exactly.
You cannot cut down on population. You cannot ask the migrant labor to leave the city and go back to their
we don't want to touch the flower industry. We want the flower industry to thrive.
So the basic thing, let's talk very in headlines. If we talk, the only thing that is doable, executable, and it is very much possible to implement is to convert all the wasteland area that is kept into solid tree cover. The moment you have tree cover, you have the bird population. The moment you have the bird population coming back, you have all the harmful insects which cause malaria, chikungunya, and all the other mosquitoes and everything, because that is the natural food of the birds. Then comes the role of people like you, because if you are creating compost, we get a chance to nourish our soil. Today, when we go and plant trees on the Yamuna banks and the Hindan rivers, we are doing a lot of plantation work in Noida, Ghaziabad. We are doing humongous work in Gurgaon. There is no soil. We have to purchase trucks and trucks of organic compost, organic manure to nourish our soil. So, one of the solutions to pollution, the solution to pollution is green cover. Ultimately, who provides oxygen? Trees.
The trees.
There is no other machine which provides oxygen.
I agree with you, 100%. What we need to do is change the mindset of the people, the behavioral pattern. And I feel that changing behavioral patterns, if we do it through creating awareness, which we must, takes rather long. What is a quicker shortcut for it is to implement laws that bring about a quick behavioral pattern change. For example, segregation of garbage at source into biodegradable, non-biodegradable, hazardous garbage. It should be implemented. Penalties should be implemented on that, and biodegradable waste should not be collected from households anymore.
Correct.
So you are quickening the process of this behavioral change.
Correct.
Now, it is written, the law says that bulk generators should handle their biodegradable waste at source as far as possible. Not possible. It should be, you have to handle it at source.
Correct.
The technology has grown so much. Now you're getting these fabulous machines which convert your biodegradable waste into compost without you even having to touch it or see it.
Correct.
So these compelling kind of laws and policies should be implemented by the government.
And I'm sure once the corporates like you take these initiatives, so people will follow suit. You need to set the right models,
so
the
we have
right
set the right
prototypes.
model. We have 10 locations in 1.5 years. They're all doing fabulously well, and we really hope more and more corporates step in, more institutions who can afford to do this. Please step in. Please take responsibility. Save the earth. Give back to the earth.
See, the laws are there in place, but the implementation of the laws is not taking place.
Yes, yeah.
Jaishree ji, one last thing I would like to ask you. How do you see the future of Delhi NCR?
Well, you know, I'm a very positive person. If I go by statistics and I go by what's documented, the future is very scary. But if I look at the positivity around of the youth, the CSR initiatives being headed by companies, the kind of foundations who are coming forward, I have a lot of hope. And I see a lot of green cover coming up. I see a lot of composting. I see a lot of technology advancement. Today, the machines, the smallest machine is a 50 kg capacity. There's a lot of work going on to generate a decomposter which is of 5 kg capacity. That means it needs only 5 kg of biodegradable waste every day. And these machines will become household machines. You have a generator, you have a washing machine, you have a dishwasher, you will have a decomposter in your machine, in a house. And you will make compost every day in your home. And I'm very
as a foundation person and as a corporate leader, I would definitely like you to say a few words to the Amity family who we are addressing today.
Right.
And this is a very vibrant, educated and very aware community that we are addressing.
Right.
We are talking to right now, we are going live on it. How do you see, I see a very powerful word because we have 11,500 volunteers all across the country, and the 2 crore trees that we have done till it is all because of the volunteering.
Right.
I would like you to say something about volunteering, and especially from the aspect of Amity family.
Amity is sitting on a gold mine. Youth is the future of India. And if youth are trained well, the right seeds are sown in their minds, they are going to be the people who we are going to go for permissions to tomorrow. They are going to be the IS officer, they are going to be sitting in positions of authority, they are going to be heading some foundation and some companies, and we'll be going to them for funds, we'll be going to them for permissions. So if this youth has a right seed sowed in their minds, our work will become easier.
Don't you think that?
So I think Amity can do a great job if I mean, it's already doing a great job by holding such talks. But if the youth can become active, Amity itself can have a composting decomposter here. Amity itself can have a club that is working towards the environment. It'll be beautiful. It'll be like, you know, putting a thought into action.
We should have a volunteering skilling center in Amity.
Yes, like I always say that, for example, I have a school in the village and we've solar powered it. And I said, every child who passes out of my school will think in his mind that it is possible to generate electricity from the sun. Because I've seen it in my school. My school runs on solar power. My school ran on solar power. So he has that possibility is a reality for him.
Right.
And when he grows up and makes a home, there is at least a 50% chance that he will put solar power.
This is the way, and we have to have a sustainable lifestyle, sustainable future. And it's the youth, it's the right now as we are addressing the Amity family. Here I would also like to just conclude by saying we need to understand, since we are talking on it's a UN sponsored and China is hosting this the whole theme on pollution on World Environment Day, that what is the single thing on this earth, on this planet, which absorbs pollution?
Exactly.
We need to understand this. This is very important. One thing is pollution creator, that is anything that is man-made. Laptops, smartphones, refrigeration, air conditioning, vehicles, two-wheelers,
even our
commercial,
breath is creating
anything,
carbon dioxide.
exactly. Even when human beings talk and even when we are talking, we are creating heat and pollution.
Exactly.
So we are pollution creators, we are heat creators, but anything that is God made, anything that is nature made, whether it's water, air, soil, forest, the tree, the plants, the vegetation, the wetland areas, they absorb the heat and pollution. So I think the youngsters need to understand that we have to, one way is to lessen the number of the polluting agents. The second is to increase the number of pollution absorbers. The pollution absorber. The pollution absorber is the tree. We realized one thing, that wherever we created a tree cluster, the temperature came down. The pollution level came down because we have pollution analyzers, we have machines. When we take it to a plantation site, suddenly by 300, 400 points, the pollution comes down. So that is the greatest scientific evidence that is there, that whenever you have clusters of trees around your housing projects, your RWAs, your educational institutions here like in Amity, the more trees you have, the better survival we will have against this menace of pollution. To conclude, I would again just my message to the entire community, to my Indian friends, to anybody who's listening to this, the only thing which absorbs pollution, which neutralizes pollution, is the tree.
And we will give you the soil for it.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm so glad that we got this opportunity, this platform to actually, because it's very important that the younger generation, they are, they have an opportunity to nourish themselves on such interactions.
Definitely. And I would also like to say that we are not very difficult to contact. So please come and volunteer. Please connect with us, whichever part of India you are. I am very, very, very happy to share any kind of knowledge. So please take anything, any information you want from us. If we can help you, we'll help you out.
That's really wonderful. That's really positive. And thank you so much for sharing this time, and thank you for in fact, I didn't even feel like that I am a special guest, the way we were talking to each other. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you.